Conscious Endeavors, episode 80 something. If you spot it, you got it. A little something I learned from Robert Edward Grant. If you spot it, you got it. Think of something that triggers you. A lot of people say this, not just Robert Edward Grant. Also, triggers are within you. Eckhart Tolle talks about as well. Everything that triggers you also remains within you, is also inside of you. So, we have to live in a world among a bunch of people who do things that we do that upset us, and we have to learn to love it. And that's the name of the game, apparently. You have to learn to love everything, all lower vibrational frequency energies and situations. You have to love everything. You have to love your enemy. That's the name of this game. That's how you rise and you ascend. That's how you raise your vibrational frequency with meditation, among other things, eating healthy, breath work, grounding. Things that I teach on Conscious Endeavors and talk about is grounding, earthing, absorbing the feminine energies, negative ions from the earth. I talk about this. Simple things you could do to change your energy and frequency. Because I've suffered from so much depression and other, I don't want to put labels, but controlling energies in my life that I've learned to somehow control them the best way I can. And sometimes I'll just escape and run away, walk away if I need to diffuse. If you're triggered by somebody who has a communication issue, guess what? You yourself have a communication issue. A lot of people are not going to want to believe that. A lot of people are going to be very upset with me. They're going to listen to this and their cognitive dissonance is going to strike them and they're going to be very upset. And they're going to say that I'm wrong. And then they're going to bash me. But that's okay, because I don't care. If you spot it, you got it. You have to learn how to take responsibility for your actions, and the reason people get upset and mad and angry is because they don't want to accept responsibility for their actions. Most people can't see them. I'm guilty of that too. Sometimes I can't see that it's me. But we have to learn to see our own shit. And I'm still working on that myself. I'm not perfect. I mess up. I make mistakes. I'm human. So is Jesus. So, thing is, if you're triggered by something that someone does, you also do it, or did it, or were somehow affected by it, and it's a perfect mirrored reflection of your reality that you need to grow and learn from. So if you get mad, you have to go inside. You have to see what it is within yourself. And I still make a mistake and I get angry because anger asks for change in the other person. Anger is also depression revisited. Anger is also asking for change, and among other things. And anger is asking for compassion, basically. There's a horse right here. Anger is asking for compassion. We get angry is because it asks for change. Anger is depression revisited, and anger is asking for compassion and love. Anger is asking for compassion and love. If you spot it, you got it. If someone did something to you and you hated it, more than likely you probably did that to someone else, or you know what it's like to have that feeling, and that's why you don't want to go back to that. Anger is depression revisited. It could be a situation like this as well. You see a lot of this in relationships too, because you have a perfect mirror to bounce your reflection off of in relationships. If you yell at someone because they don't listen to you, guess what? You don't listen to other people either. Don't get mad at me. You have to accept responsibility for your actions and just fight that cognitive dissonance for just a few seconds and start to realize and turn it inward. Because everything that we see in our external reality is really a mirrored reflection of what's going on inside of us. And it's crazy because we always forget. We always forget this. It's so stupid because society trains our brains, our minds, the way the elites and the higher ups, the shepherds, created our society. They created our society for us to be insane. And what is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. We shouldn't do the same thing over and over again, expecting the result to change. What we should do is master how to heal it, accept it, transmute it, ascend. You accept it, you overcome it, and then you move on. That's how we're supposed to do things. We're not supposed to do things in circles and cycles. If you keep doing the same shit over and over again, and you feel like your life is going around in circles and cycles like this over and over again, and you keep seeing the same shit happening over and over and over, it's because, the universe is trying to tell you that you're doing something wrong, and it's trying to keep showing you and putting you in the same situation, same feeling of emotion, so you can learn and so you can change. It's the spiral of life. We always go through the spiral of life, and the universe shows us like different people, different time and place, but like same situation, same emotion. And the reason why you go through the spiral of life is you're being shown another perception of that reality, a perception that you haven't seen before. The ancient indigenous people used to draw the spiral of life in the cave walls and in the sand. The spiral of life, okay? If you spot it, you got it. Pay attention and try to accept responsibility and try to see your own shit. I'm struggling with this currently myself in some areas, and I always give my experience. I'm not trying to force an idea or religion on anyone, but I stand with Jesus personally, and I like kind of what he's about and how his teachings. I'm all about Jesus, but I don't agree with church and establishments, because I think a lot of people try to brainwash you. But there is a way for this salvation and freedom, they say. And the only way you're going to get there is if you accept responsibility for your action. Otherwise, you're never going to get there. And you're going to continue to suffer. And you're going to suffer in hell and lower vibrational frequency realities. And God is going to keep you there until you learn. And you're not going nowhere until you learn. Lead with love. Have forgiveness. Try to wait until the right time to talk. Don't let anybody force and control you to talk when you're not ready. You just sit and wait and be patient. All your answers come when you're in love. In a loving heart, loving frequency. Best communication is when you're in love, loving heart, loving frequency. And you get all your answers. But we have a bad tendency of trying to control, because we want reality to be a certain way. We can't go down the river in the boat and try to grab every branch that we can to slow down the boat. We have to trust that that river is going to end safely. We have to be like the water. That's what Bruce Lee said. Be like the water. When you put the water in the jug, you become the jug. When you put the water in the cup, you become the cup. You put the water in the bottle, you become the bottle, okay? Water is formless. It just goes with the flow. Try to spot your own shit and go with the flow. Conscious endeavors.